Hello, my name is Bruce Elgort, and I will be your instructor for this video tutorial on how to install and configure FileZilla. In this video, we are going to be talking about what is FileZilla. Then we'll talk about, hey Bruce, what do I do if I'm running Microsoft Windows rather than a Mac? Then we'll talk about where to get or download FileZilla from, and then we'll move on to installing the FileZilla software. And finally, I'll wrap up by showing you how to connect your Mac to the Clark or CTEC web server. So let's get started. You're probably asking yourself, hey Bruce, what exactly is FileZilla? Well, let me tell you. It's a piece of software for your Apple Macintosh that allows you to transfer or move files from your Mac to the Clark web server, better known as the CTEC server. I'll be covering how to connect to the CTEC server later on in this video. FileZilla also can be used to move files from any web server back to your Macintosh. Okay? FileZilla is a free program. It's what we call open source, which means that the source code is available for developers to see and make changes to, such that the changes that they make can be contributed back to the core, what we call distribution of the software. You will get to use FileZilla to upload your assignments and quizzes, yeah, I said quizzes, to the Clark CTEC web server. So you've gotten this far in the video and you just realized that you're not using a Macintosh, but you're using a Windows PC. Well, have no fear. This movie obviously is made for people who have Macintoshes who are needing to install the FileZilla software. So what you're going to need to do is go into Canvas, go under Modules, go under Important Resources, and then under Useful Links, find the link to the CTEC 122 class webpage, and from there you'll be able to see or locate that video that I spoke of called Installing and Configuring WinSCP. So you can stop watching the video now. All you Apple Macintosh people continue to hold, okay? So goodbye, PC people. Hope you find the video. If not, please post a question. There's a really important web page that you're going to need to bookmark and reference quite often in CTEC 122. And in order to get to that web page, you should log into Canvas at clarkcollege.instructure.com. You can see that up here in the address bar. And I'm going to log in using my username and password. I am then going to go into the CTEC 122 HTML Fundamentals course. And on the left side here, in the sidebar or the left navigator, I'm going to click on Modules. The next thing I'm going to do is look under Important Resources. And then there's a link here that says Quick List of Useful Resources. I'm then going to click on that. And then the first link right here, CTEC 122 class webpage, you want to click on that, and then you want to bookmark this page. You are going to be referring to this web page, and you're going to be using a lot of the resources on the page here, including links to this video and many other videos, quite often in the class. So I want you to do that. So I'll give you a second to bookmark the page. Okay, great. Glad you bookmarked it. Then I want you to scroll down under Course Resources here, in this section here, and you'll see a link that says FileZilla Download for Mac OS X. I want you to click on that. And you'll be brought to the FileZilla page. What you want to do at this point is click on the big green button here that says Download Now, and I'm going to just click on that once. Then you have to wait a second or two for the download to commence. They want to show you a whole bunch of advertisements. So there you can see in the lower left-hand side, my file is being downloaded, my copy of FileZilla that is. I'll wait for that to complete the download. And now that the download is complete, I will be able to double click on it to launch it. And it's going to bring up Finder, and it shows me right here FileZilla.app. Now, if you look carefully right here, it's in the Downloads folder. We don't want to use it there. Oh, it just moved a little bit. We want to move that or drag it to the Applications folder on your Macintosh. I happen to have mine under Favorites. Yours may be somewhere else in the list here, but just copy and drop it in the Applications folder on your Macintosh. It may take a second or two or three or four for it to move. I'm going to close down the browser temporarily. And now that the file is moved, I clicked on Applications, and you can see here, FileZilla is located right here. Okay. Now, you may want to drag that to your dock or create a link on your desktop. I'll leave that up to you. So I'm going to launch the FileZilla application by double-clicking it. And you are prompted with a dialog box that says, this is an application downloaded from the internet. Again, this pop-up, this dialog may or may not show up depending upon the version of OS X that you have. Mine does. And I'm going to say, yeah, I trust it. I'm going to open it. And now FileZilla, the FileZilla software, will be opened. And you can see it right here. Okay? But before I continue and show you more about FileZilla, we need to go over a couple of things, because you're being presented here with host, username, password, port, and other things. So let's go back to a slide for a second and talk about these things that you'll need. Before you can connect to the Clark web server, or any other web server for that matter, you're going to need a few things. The first thing you're going to need is something called a host name. Okay? Now, the host name is the address of the computer or the server, in this case the web server, that you're going to want to connect to. And the name and address of the Clark web server is ctec.clark.edu. That's the text inside of the quotes. You don't type the quotes, but you type in ctec.clark.edu when you're asked for the host name. Secondly, you're going to need a username, and your username is going to be the first part of your Clark student email address. That's going to be everything to the left side of the @ sign. The last thing you're going to need is a password, and your password is something that your instructor may have sent to you, or you'll be receiving an announcement about how to obtain your password to the ctec.clark.edu web server. So now that we know about hostname, username, and password, let me show you how to connect to the Clark web server. I'm now back in the FileZilla software, and now I'm going to try to connect to the Clark web server, or as I stated before, ctec.clark.edu. That's the host name. So I am going to enter that in here, ctec.clark.edu. Notice, no HTTP or FTP in front of it, just ctec.clark.edu. And then I'm going to enter in my username, BELGORT. Your username, again, is going to be everything to the left side of the @ sign in your Clark student email. And then I'm going to enter in my super secret password. And then I need to enter a port number, and that port number is going to be 2222. Okay? So again, ctec.clark.edu is the host. Your username, everything to the left side of the @ sign. Yours may or may not have a dot and maybe a number or two after your last name. It all depends. And then your password, that was either emailed to you or you replied to an announcement and received your password, and the port 22. I'm now going to hit Quick Connect, and I am now connected to the Clark web server as indicated by the status messages here. On the left-hand side here, I'm going to see all the folders and files on my local Macintosh. This happens to be the downloads folder. And on the right side, you can see here the remote site. Okay, you can see here that this is the series of folders on the web server that took me to my particular folder on the CTEC server. The one thing you want to look at here is something called public HTML. Okay, if you can see this folder under your name, you are good to go. We'll talk more about the public HTML folder and how to move files to and from the Clark server and your Mac, or your Mac and the Clark server, in other videos.